What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into TTP Sports. And for the Sixers franchise, 3-12 now. They're 3-12. Took forever to get to this point. Took forever to get a win, but they got a win. I feel terrible saying that. Why am I getting excited at 3-12? I shouldn't be excited. I shouldn't be. But the only reason why it made me excited because that fourth quarter by Mccain and Tyrese Maxey, absolutely electric stuff. Insane stuff. And we'll get to that, as we get further along in this pod. But, Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons back in town. We also get reports that, Joel Embiid was questionable coming into this game. And then we get the Shams report, before tip-off. I believe it was like an hour or a half hour before tip-off that Joel Embiid is going to miss this game. And also the next game against the Los Angeles Clippers on Sunday because he has swelling in his knee. And I guess this was something that he was dealing with in the last game against the Memphis Grizzlies. And, just continuing on to the just nightmare season that Joel Embiid is going through, this nightmare, controversial, just dumpster fire of a season that the Sixers franchise is going through because it is just an utter drag to watch this team every single game. It really is because there's so much going on with Joel Embiid on how much we're getting pissed off with him because at this point, it really feels like he's playing the woe is me card because I don't like his body language. I don't like his tone when he's talking in press conferences, especially after when Tyrese Maxey called him out, during that team meeting against the Miami Heat. That was just, Joel Embiid just felt like not taking that entire thing seriously. It really just felt like that. And just as the season goes along, Joel Embiid didn't look like he ramped up or anything. He doesn't look good in games. Even though he had a nice game against the Memphis Grizzlies, it still is. I need to say way more than that. I need to say way more when you're on the court, Joel. I just need to. I need to. Is it a little harsh? I don't think it is, in my personal opinion, because there's just so much bad going on with this team this year that I can't think of anything else because it is that bad with Joel Embiid. It really is. And I'm just getting so sick and tired of everything that is going on with Joel Embiid in this entire thing. And this is coming as a guy that has loved Joel Embiid over his tenure as a Sixer. It's just getting tiring. It really is. I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of all the drama, sick of all the controversy, just everything. It's getting tiresome. It just is. And I would be willing to move on from it, but that is another conversation for another day. But we'll probably talk about it as we get along in this show. But yeah, it's a real drag to watch this Sixers team. I think that's the summary of that entire thing for right now. Oh yeah, and also Paul George is hurt again, hyperextended that same knee that he hyperextended in the preseason. So who knows how many more games he's going to miss. I think they said he was going to be reevaluated in 2 games. So who knows how many more games he's going to miss. So yeah, that's fun. Already into the Paul George experience where he's already injured twice. And we probably should have expected this. 34-year-old guy, been in the league for a long time. He's been injury prone for a little bit now. And what else should we expect at this point? So he's already injured twice. And we're not even, 2 full months into the year. It's absolutely insane. It really is. So like I said, this team is a drag to watch. They really are. But the one thing, maybe the 2 things that make this team not as frustrating to watch, that would be Mccain and Tyrese Maxey. Mainly Mccain right now, and that's no knock to Tyrese Maxey because, him just coming off of a hamstring injury, his minutes per game is going to be ramped up a little bit here. He's, playing the past couple, 20, 25 minutes, even though he literally just came back from the injury. So he played, I believe, 27 minutes tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. So he's eventually going to get to that where he's above 30 minutes a game, 30 plus, near 35. So just pushing there, maybe near 40 or something like that. Because if you look at McCain's minutes, McCain played 39 tonight. So eventually we'll start seeing Tyrese Maxey get into the high 30s here as he starts to ramp up. But it's also nice that he's finding his scoring touch again because, like I said, him and McCain absolutely took over the fourth quarter and just constantly going back to Jared McCain because, like I said, he is one of the main reasons why this 3-12 Sixers team is even remotely watchable. They're only watchable because of him, basically. And like I said, that's not a knock to Maxey because he's been out for the past couple of weeks just returning. But Jared McCain has been so electric, and he has been deserving a lot more in terms of the win column because that's how fantastic he has been playing. This kid is unreal. This kid is legit. This kid is going to be something in this league for years to come because this kid is just pure confidence. He looks insanely confident in himself. He looks like when he goes out there on the court, he's going to do his job. He's going to, his number is called. He's going to go out there, give it all for his team. It just feels like he's an automatic bucket too because this guy just can just score left and right. And a lot of people on the Twitterverse and in the NBA Twitterverse has been, comparing him to like a Steph Curry light, which is, getting me all giddy a little bit there. So it's a lot of fun stuff here with Jared McCain. And just seeing some of the stats that have been popping up in the past couple of games too, especially in this stretch since he's been, flushed into the starting rotation. Great stuff. Amazing stuff. Because if you just, StatMuse put all this stuff here on Twitter in his past, basically in every game for Jared McCain as a starter. So he's averaging 26 points per game as a starter, and that is the most by a rookie since Michael Jordan. Not going to go that far comparing him to Michael Jordan, but that's some electric stuff right there. That year, the first rookie to do that since Michael Jordan. So if you just look at his past 6 games here, actually past 5 games here, as what StatMuse put up there. So 20 points, 5 assists, 3 3-pointers made, 20 points, 4 assists, 4 3-pointers made, 29 points, 4 assists, 5 3-pointers made, 34 points, 10 assists, 6 3-pointers made. That was the past game against the Memphis Grizzlies. And then tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, 30 points, 3 assists, and 6 3-pointers made. It just feels like the 3-point shooting for him is getting better and better and better as the games go along. And it's just fantastic stuff here with Jared McCain. It's unreal what this guy is doing. It's just absolutely insane stuff. Automatic rookie of the year. And also, this is a stat from Bleacher Report. 7 straight game for Jared McCain of 20-plus points. Just insane stuff. And I want to go over his game log, basically, I would say since November 8th, and that was against the Los Angeles Lakers on the road, and I think that was more when he was starting to, first get into the starting rotation. So against the Los Angeles Lakers, he had 18 points, and then his next game against Charlotte, 27 points. Against the New York Knicks, 23 points. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he had 34. Against Orlando, he had 29. Against Miami, he had 20. Against Memphis, he had 20. And then he had 34 points against the Brooklyn Nets. So just some absolutely insane stuff there that Jared McCain is doing. Just look at the 3-point shooting in these games as well. Against the Lakers, he was 4 of 9 from 3. He was 3 of 8 from 3 against Charlotte, 4 of 10 against the Knicks, 6 of 13 against Cleveland, 5 of 10 against Orlando, 4 of 9 against Miami, 3 of 7 against Memphis, and 6 of 11 tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. This kid is just oozing confidence. It's so fun. And it was insanely fun watching him and Maxey just completely take over that fourth quarter because it kind of felt like this was a typical Sixers game at the course of the beginning of the season where they get off to a nice start. They're rolling a little bit. They're scoring. They're finding their touch. Some guys are going off. Yabusele is going off and everything like that. They're finding ways to score, and they have a nice, comfortable lead. But then once you get closer to the end of the half, that's when the Nets make it a game. Nets made it a 3-point game at the half, and then you come out of the second half struggling. Nets take the lead. They kind of do their thing in the third quarter, and then you get into the fourth quarter. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain score 19 straight points, both of them, and that's when you run away with the game because those two hand-delivered you a win. They took over the game, and that was the really fun part there. And there's always been a lot of talk about, being concerned about a Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain being on the floor at the same time. Granted, this is only one game against the Brooklyn Nets, so I'm not going to go too far here, but I think there is some legitimacy to them being able to take over the floor, being able to play on the floor at the same time because they looked comfortable. They looked confident in each other. They played off of each other really well. And that led to that fourth quarter against the Nets. Now, is this going to happen every single game down the stretch? No, probably not. You'll probably have some of these games in there, but it's not going to be something that uber consistent. Definitely not expecting that. But it's just something to think of as you go along with the future of this franchise. And that's also coming into the topic of talking about Joel Embiid, because you know how I basically brought up I'm getting tired of all this nonsense with Joel Embiid, and a lot of the people in this city are. Yeah, granted, there's a few people that are still trying to string on to whatever you have left, because obviously you just signed Joel Embiid to that extension. You want to try to find a way to win a championship with Joel Embiid here. But it's just, I come back to, and this is also just all the recent stuff that is going on in the back of my mind as well with Joel Embiid. So it's really making me sour on him just because of everything, especially with the whole thing of Tyrese Maxey calling him out. Not the biggest fan of Joel Embiid's body language, not the biggest fan of his attitude recently. It really does feel like he's playing the "oh, woe was me" card, because it really just does feel like that. It definitely does. And granted, now that he is injured once again with a knee swelling, and that's not his fault. I'm not saying the injury situations are his fault. It's just getting tiring. It really is. And and also it does bother me. I believe the comments were the other day where, him showing up late, him complaining about, what was it, like living an hour and a half away or 2.5 hours away or something like that. That just really rubbed me the wrong way. It really just did. Because when I think about it, which it will be now going off of the tangent of Embiid, like I said, eventually we were going to do that. It goes back to the Olympics, because it kind of just feels like Joel Embiid really didn't take anything from his trip to the Olympics. And granted, I don't think anybody in Philadelphia was a fan of him going to the Olympics, especially him coming off the meniscus surgery. He comes up to the meniscus surgery, down the stretch, they get into the play-in tournament, then they play a second-round matchup in the first round against the New York Nets, and, him and Maxey do whatever they can to try to help the Sixers pull out that series. You just couldn't do it in the end because the Knicks were the better team. But then instead of taking the summer to rest that knee and then build up for the season, you go into a very, excruciating, training camp for Team USA. You go into the Olympics, you go there, you helped them and factored in winning that gold medal. And then you come into the regular season where you're just not in shape, where you're not healthy enough to go. And then eventually when it's, you get into a game, you don't look ramped up at all. You look like you're just going through the motions in your first game, in your first few games, actually. And really the only time you had a solid game was after you got called out by Tyrese Maxey. And then after that, you're not in the lineup again. it just it just doesn't feel right. And then, I believe it was one of the comments after the Grizzlies game, if I'm not mistaken, where he says, where he's taking all the blame, everything is my fault. Even his just tone just didn't sound like he was taking it seriously, where it comes back to him playing the woe was me, playing the victim card. It just doesn't sit right with me. You know, it kind of just feels like that he didn't take anything away from the Olympics, where it felt like where instead of going there as a learning process to where you can learn from guys and be around guys like a LeBron, be around guys like Steph, be around guys like, Kevin Durant and everything like that, learn from them, how to come to the, to the court every day, train every day, how to prepare yourself and how to better understand what it takes to win in this league and finally find a way to win a Larry O'Brien trophy. It kind of feels like more that it was, okay, I've made it. I made it type of moment. I gotta, I gotta stall near LeBron. I gotta stall near Curry. I got a gold medal. I got everything I could ask for right here. And it just kind of felt like it was building an entitlement thing out of Joel Embiid. And it really just kind of felt like this is carrying over into the regular season to where we're getting this, just not good attitude from Joel Embiid. It really is. And right now it's just Joel Embiid versus the Sixers fan base versus the city of Philadelphia. It's getting completely tiring. It really just is. And like I said, I wouldn't mind moving Joel Embiid. I understand in his contract, I think in the first year of your contract, you cannot trade him. They can do stuff when you get to the offseason and everything like that. And people are talking about, oh, you're not going to be able to trade them. You're not going to be able to move that contract and everything like that. No team's going to want him. You can move a Joel Embiid. You can 100% move a Joel Embiid. You can. Ben Simmons can't shoot threes, just declining offensively each and every year. Still got traded for a big package. James Harden, no one wants him, blah, 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 blah. Always a locker room cancer, blah, 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 blah. James Harden gets traded back-to-back times. So we will be able to trade guys in the NBA. Stars get traded left and right all the time. So I don't think there will be an issue trading Joel Embiid. I just don't see that as the case whatsoever. So, and that is something more for the future. Obviously, like I said, the clause in this contract, you can't trade him in the first season. So you're going to have to ride this season out wherever it takes you. You're 3-12. I believe you're 3 games out of the playing round, seeding spots, and I believe you're like 3.5 games out of the 6th seed. So we'll see where it takes them. Are they going to win a bunch of games in the stretch, coming up here? Because if you look at their schedule right here, just upcoming, they got the Clippers obviously on Sunday. They got the Houston Rockets. They got Detroit, Charlotte, Orlando on a back-to-back at home. Chicago, Charlotte, Cleveland, San Antonio. Then you get the Boston Celtics on Christmas. So, and I'm not going to go over the entire schedule. You basically know, right now you're a 3-12 team, so every single game is going to be tough for you, especially with the unknown of when Joel Embiid's going to play again, when Paul George is going to be in the lineup, because right now this is Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain's team. And we'll see where that takes them over the next few games. If those two can find a way to squeak out some wins here, that'll make me really excited specifically for those two, and just the potential of those two as a duo for the long-term future here. But it's just so tiring with everything Joel Embiid related. I'm just being honest. I really am. It's not fun. It just isn't. There's so much drama. There's so much controversy to where I'm so done with it. It's just too much. It's too much. Like, you really shouldn't see this much in one single season, to where we're 15 games in a year and there's been so much drama with Joel Embiid. It's absolutely insane. And I do believe Nick Nurse did have some update on Joel Embiid post game, talking about how this is something they're going to be dealing with as the season goes along. So who the hell knows what that's going to be? I'll play that clip in a little bit here. So it's around 1.5 minutes, the answer from Nick Nurse. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But just like I said, it's just insanely tiring. And if you just go back to the standings just to look at them once again, like I said, you're 3-12. The teams that are above you, the Toronto Raptors, the Chicago Bulls, the Brooklyn Nets. Then you got the teams that are in the playing round spots. Then you got the 6th seed. You're basically 3.5 games out of that 6th seed spot. And the only thing to your benefit is just how bad the Eastern Conference is. There are so many teams that are below 500, and then just the other teams like Boston and Cleveland. There's really not one other team that stands out besides those two. It's Cleveland and Boston. The Knicks are 9-6. The Magic are 10-7. Then you get the Miami Heat in 5th that are 6-7. Atlanta's 7-9. Detroit's 7-10. Charlotte's 6-9. Pacers are 6-9. Milwaukee's 6-9. It's just every team feels like, besides 4 teams, every team is below 500. So that is the only thing to your benefit, that the entire conference sucks. So yeah, if you do go on a little run here and you find a way to win some games, yeah, you're going to find yourself in a playoff spot. But is that because you're a good team, or is that just because the teams around you are just absolute dog trash? And dog trash, is that even a thing? Dog trash. I was going to say absolute dog shit, but for some reason just trash came out of my mouth. So it's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. Just me being stupid and me speaking gibberish. But back to the standings. The only reason, like, if the Sixers, like I said, if the Sixers do find a way to squeak some wins here, they go on a little run, they get some wins under their belt, and that's not saying it's with Joel Embiid or Paul George in the lineup. If this is just like a Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain thing, are they a good team, or is it just a product around them and basically around the Eastern Conference? Is it just that bad? And the Sixers are bad within that as well because they've been a part of the garbage product because they're just as bad as any other team in the Eastern Conference, probably one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. They're 3-12 for a reason. They've been that putrid. Just the bottom line there. So we'll see where it takes them. We'll see it. Like I said, are they going to go on a stretch after this? I have no idea. They can just easily lose to the Clippers on Sunday. They really can. So I'm not putting bets on anything of them going on a stretch. Basically, at this point, I'm only watching for Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain because those two are the only reason why you should watch this team. Because I'm not excited to watch Joel anymore because he just doesn't look the same. Granted that, is he because he's unhealthy. And this is also the thing, too, with Joel Embiid playing the past couple of games. What if this is just him healthy now? What if he can never find a way to get to fully 100%, where Joel Embiid healthy is at 50%, where he's healthy at 60%, and that's just what you're getting out of Joel Embiid now for the rest of his career? That's something that's also been popping in the back of my mind for the past few games now, ever since he basically came back into the lineup. Is this just what Joel Embiid is at this point? Because that knee is just, the legs have been through so much. And yeah, you're going to deal with a lot of crap injury-wise when you're a 7'2" big man, because that's just a lot of stuff going on with your legs. It's a lot of work with your legs, and it's eventually going to break down. Now are we just in the stage where Joel Embiid is just completely broken down? That's also something to think about as we go along here. I have no idea. I have no idea. Like I said, he did have a nice game against the Memphis Grizzlies, but it was one good game surrounded by slop and just terribleness. It really was, because ever since he came back, really wasn't good in any of the games. Looked completely out of shape, looked completely out of breath, just didn't look at all resembling the player that he can be. And he had the good game against Memphis, where after Tyrese Maxey called him out, but then the team just still looked terrible once again. And they were playing against the Memphis team without John Morant. So that was a Memphis team that didn't have a healthy lineup, and they still beat you very convincingly. So that really doesn't tell me. And that was a game where you had Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George on the court at the same time. Granted, that was the first game Maxey came back, and also that's the game Paul George, boom, hyperextended his knee again. So the first game where you have the quote-unquote big three together, they already get separated once again. So how many games are those three going to play together? 5. They barely played 1. I don't even consider it 1. You consider it maybe a couple of quarters, half a game. It wasn't even a full game that they played together. Are we lucky to get 10, 12, 15? Is that even stretching it that much? Less than 10? Ugh. I don't even want to think about that. But that's something I've been thinking about for a while now. Are we going to get 10 games of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George together at all? Oh, that is the life of the 76ers. It really just is. There's so much crap that goes on with this team every single goddamn year. It really just it. I got nothing. I got nothing. Because it's just utter bullshit every single year. And of course, now the whole snitch thing that Joel Embiid is uber pissed about with that entire situation. Do I care who fucking snitched? No. No. Because Joel Embiid's in the wrong. You have no right to be pissed about this shit. You're the one coming into the press conference saying, oh, we had a meeting? And then you go and praise Jimmy Butler right after that? Kind of feels like you were slapping Tyrese Maxey there. Giving him the double bird. What do you want me to feel about that? No. Are you going to be pissed about it? Probably. Should I care? No. Because you're the cause of all this. I feel like you should have a right to be pissed about this because all of this is your fault. Sorry. Sorry. It's your fault, Joel. You're responsible for everything here. Your attitude, you're showing up late, you not being in shape again. just take fucking accountability for once. It just feels like, just take fucking accountability. That's all you got to do. Yeah, like, just go into the press conference. Yeah, we had a good meeting. We did a heart-to-heart, took everything to heart, and going to come in the next game. We're going to play our hearts out. We're going to find a way to win, play as a team, play as one. And it was a real connecting moment for us as a team, as teammates, as brothers. Didn't get that once from Joel Embiid. This team doesn't look like they play for one. This was the only game tonight where I felt like this team played together as one, and that was specifically because of Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. It's what it felt like. No game that Joel Embiid and Paul George were in there. Didn't look like anyone cared. And obviously, there's a lot of shit going around there that obviously this is probably no shock to anybody that the league does not respect Joel Embiid, which is completely obvious, in my personal opinion. Completely obvious. So, I'm not shocked in that at the slightest. But, for me, if I were to make the decisions, build around Maxey and McCain. Build around Maxey and McCain. Because those two are electric. They're fun. Especially McCain. This kid's special. This kid's got a lot going for him. And he's taking advantage of it every single step of the way. Ever since being slotted in to the starting rotation. Hell, when I think about Tyrese Maxey, making his first start, what was that, during like one of the COVID years where a lot of the Sixers were out due to COVID situations and Maxey had to be forced into the starting rotation, and he played a pretty nice game, and that one game made you really think, Tyrese Maxey can ball, and he really moved forward ever since, and he's been improving every single year. Well, Jared McCain is doing that and then some, because my God, this kid's fun to watch. He really is. He is so fun to watch. It makes me smile. It's the only thing to make me smile watching this team. It's because of Jared McCain. And that fourth quarter with him and Maxey, just beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Where it felt like another game where the Sixers were just going to completely plummet and completely fall apart once again. No, those two were there to save the day. And it was really fun watching that. And that's what I want to see. Those two shining bright, because maybe it gives you a little hope of the future of this franchise with those two in particular. Maybe move on from Joel, build around these two. It's kind of funny that Maxey and McCain kind of feels like a torch passing from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, even though that's nowhere close to the case whatsoever. I'm just finding a way to make it sound stupid. It feels like it, but it does, because it was fun watching. It was fun watching. Let it be the case. Let it be the case. I want it to be the case. I definitely do, because I'm 100% tired of this Embiid stuff. I'm 100% tired of it. Full-on Maxey McCain out on Joel Embiid. That's where I stand. And that's where tonight is going to close, everybody. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. We are very close to 1,000 subs. I would appreciate you all joining here, this nice program. Also, don't forget to use the code TTPSPORTS. $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Do not pass it up. Great deal. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll see you next time.